Let's look at language arts from our packet pages 226 and 227 and read our story from our textbook page 76 through 115. Let's start first on our packet page 226. Page 226 is called Our Chickens, and it has special vocabulary words that we're going to read about in our story. It says, write words from the box to complete the story. Go ahead and repeat after me. Gathered, built, taught, danger, feathers. My chickens, a hen house. I gathered, built, taught, danger, feathers, my chickens, a hen house. The best word is built. Then I them to sleep in it. Then I gathered, taught, danger, feathers. There are actually two words that would work well in this spot, but because of another sentence that's later, the best option here is taught. Then I taught them to sleep in it. When they expected to be fed, they at the door. Gathered, danger, feathers. When they expected to be fed, they gathered. They ate grit for their gizzards. A gizzard is a stomach on the inside of a chicken that helps to digest their food. Then they fluffed their danger, feathers. They fluffed their feathers. When they saw the vacuum cleaner, they squawked. Quack! It was their cry. It was their danger cry. Once you finish writing on this page, let's go ahead and go to our textbook page 76. I'm on page 76 and 77 of the textbook, and it says, get set to read. The surprise family. Baby birds. What happens when a hen doesn't get the kind of babies she expects? Read the next story to find out. Words to know. Go ahead and repeat. Only, together, watched, baby, edge, enough, garden, sharp, boy, pointed, saw, hawk, taught, fluffy, fuzzy. Practice sentences. 1. A boy and his mother went out together into the garden. 2. They saw fuzzy, fluffy baby birds on the ground. 3. They watched the birds creep to the edge of the garden. 4. The mother pointed up to a hawk with a sharp beak. 5. She taught the boy that the only safe place was in the nest. 6. That should be enough to keep the baby birds safe, the mother said. Maybe during this springtime you've actually seen some bird nests, either when you've gone out to go for a walk, or even in your own yard, you've looked and you've found one. I know that in my yard, I can hear a lot of birds, so that's a clue to me that their nests must be close. Let's go ahead and turn the page and start our story. The Surprise Family by Lynn Reiser. First, there was an egg. Turn. One day, it cracked open. A baby chick looked out. Nobody was there. Where was her mother? Something that's important to look at here, though, is this lamp. Do you know why this egg was placed underneath this lamp on purpose? Well, if you think about it, the eggs usually stay in a nest, and there's an adult bird that is there to keep the eggs warm. But since this egg was not in that situation, you would take an egg and place it under this heating lamp. This heating lamp provides warmth for the egg to help protect it and nurture it until the chick is ready to hatch. The baby chick looked up and saw a boy. Her mother was a boy. The boy was not the kind of mother the chick had expected, but she loved him anyway. Right? The baby chick would expect to find a chicken or a hen. But let's see how this boy takes care of this chick. Let's turn the page. She followed him everywhere. The boy showed his baby chick how to find water and food and grit for her gizzard. Right? Maybe you have a pet at home and you have to teach them where to go to find their food and water dish. Let's keep reading. He taught her how to hide safe inside his jacket when a hawk flew by or when the vacuum cleaner came too close. This is similar to what a hen would do. Right? Here we see the chick is hiding inside the boy's jacket, but a hen would gather the chick underneath her wings. So it's still some of the same behaviors, just not quite exactly how it would actually happen in nature. Every afternoon, the boy and his baby chick went for a walk around the garden. At night, she slept warm under the edge of his quilt. Just like how at night a hen would have all the chicks gathered and they'd be all together to keep them warm, here that's what the chick is doing with the boy and his quilt. Let's turn the page. The baby chick grew and became a little hen. She still followed the boy everywhere, but now following the boy was not enough. She wanted a family to follow her. She built a nest. And look what she's using to build her nest. She's using the straw from the broom and breaking that off to build it. The boy found a clutch of eggs. The clutch means this group. He gave them to the little hen. Now, before we turn, let's think back. What was the hen's egg at the very start of this story? What did it look like? What was its size? What was its color? Well, if you remember, the hen's egg was large and it was like a white color. But here we see these ones, they're small. There are bluish, greenish color. And there are several of them all together. That might be a good clue for what kind of creature will hatch out of that egg later. Let's turn the page. She sat and warmed the eggs, and every day she turned the eggs, and she sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she sat. Crack! Crack, 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 crack. The eggs cracked open. The babies looked out and saw the little hen. Let's turn. They followed her everywhere. She showed them how to find water and food and grit for their gizzards. Right? This is just like what the boy had done for her. And now she's teaching these little ones. That's similar to your own families. Maybe your grandparents taught your parents something, and now your parents are teaching you. And so this kind of continues through all these different families. She taught them to run to her when she sang a danger song and danced a danger dance, and to hide safe under her feathers. Look again, here's the vacuum cleaner that's scaring them because it can move and it's very loud. And so she's teaching them, oh, this is a safe place if you stay close to me. Let's turn. Every afternoon, the boy and the little hen and the babies went for a walk around the garden. At night, the babies slept warm under the little hen's wings. Right, still with that quilt that the boy had used with the little hen. Let's turn. The little hen's family grew. They still followed her everywhere, But now walking around the garden was not enough. They wanted to walk by the pond. So the boy and the hen took them to walk by the pond. They stood at the edge of the water. They looked at the water. They took a drink of the water. Now, this is pretty similar to kids like you. You can be curious and interested in new places and new things. And so you might go and explore something. Now, it's okay for a while, but it is important to remember to follow along with the advice and what the instructions are from your parents. And let's see how that happens in our story by turning the page. They jumped into the water. The little hen cried her danger cry. Her babies splashed. Here with this illustration, we have a big clue about the emotions of the hen. She seems nervous, worried, frightened, scared, surprised, all of these emotions. And it could be very similar to what maybe some of your parents or family members might think when you try something new. They want to keep you safe. And sometimes when you explore, you can't always be safe. Sometimes maybe something happens where maybe you fall off your bike or something, or you get a scratch. And so parents are worried about that. But here we see the hen really is so surprised, and she's trying her best to give them advice not to do that. They did not follow her instructions. Let's see what happens. Let's turn. The little hen danced her danger dance. Her babies swam. The little hen held out her wings for her babies to run under, but they kept on swimming farther and farther away. Oh, wow, this is really hard for this hen. She's trying to take good care of them, but they're not listening and following her instructions. And she's so nervous for what could go wrong here. So that's really important. If you think about your own life, if moms and dads are giving you good advice, they're telling you to stay close to them, to not try something or not go to a certain place, it is important to make sure that you are listening and following instructions for moms and dads. They might be giving you some good advice to help keep you safe, even if you don't fully realize it. Okay, let's turn the page and see what happens. The little hen ran after them, but when her feet got wet, she stopped. She was a chicken. Chickens cannot swim. Oh, think about how hard this is for her. She knows that this is an environment where she will not be successful. So trying to save them would actually put her own life in so much danger that she couldn't even go and rescue them. The little hen's baby swam out of sight. Only her boy was left. Wow, she's looking to the boy for her comfort in a very tough and confusing situation. We feel like this poor little hen has tried her best, but it seems like this is a situation without a very good solution. Let's turn and see what happens. Then the little hen's babies turned around, swam back, hopped out of the water, flapped their wings, shook their tails, and ran to their mother hen. She gathered her babies in warm under her wings. She looked at them. They were safe. She looked at them again, carefully. She knows that for her, that was not at all a safe thing. And there's no way that she'd be able to return like these ones had. So now she's going to look very carefully. Let's turn and see. Their beaks were not pointed like her beak or soft like her boy's mouth. They were flat. Their feet were not sharp like her feet or hard like her boy's shoes. They were webbed. First grade, when it says webbed, right, it means that these the part of the feet actually has a layer of skin that attaches all of it together, which makes it very useful for swimming, right? They've got a nice surface area that they can use to kick and move the water very well. Okay, let's turn. Their feathers were not fluffy like her feathers or fuzzy like her boy's jacket. They were waterproof. What does it mean to be waterproof? It means that the water is not able to stay on the feathers. It doesn't get absorbed into the feathers. Instead, it actually rolls off. First grade, I want to teach you a little phrase that I learned, which I think is so very helpful. If you maybe have a situation where maybe you're feeling a little sad, a little bit hurt or a little disappointed, maybe someone says something to you that is unkind or hurtful, and you keep thinking about it and it's making you really sad, this phrase might help you out. Okay, here it is. It's think like a duck and quack, quack, let it roll off your back. Okay, once more. Here's that phrase. It says, think like a duck and quack, quack, let it roll off your back. Sometimes people say things that are hurtful or unkind, or maybe they say something without even trying to hurt your feelings and it just makes you sad. You can either choose to keep thinking about it and get really upset and hard on yourself, really disappointed, or you can choose to think like a duck and quack, quack, let it roll off your back, meaning you can choose to ignore it. Stop thinking about it. You can choose to not let it ruin your day or ruin your attitude, knowing that it's not true about you, but instead thinking about other things that are good and true. Let's continue reading our story. Her babies did not look like chicks or like boys. They looked like ducklings. Ducklings were not the kind of family she had expected, but she loved them anyway. Let's turn. The ducklings grew and grew and became big ducks. Some afternoons, while the ducks swam in the pond, the boy walked around the garden, and the hen followed him. Some afternoons, while the ducks swam in the pond, the hen walked around the garden, and the boy followed her. Other afternoons, while the ducks swam in the pond, the boy waded after them. The hen watched. Here's what it means to wade in the water. Notice the boy has taken off his socks and his shoes, and here his feet and just a little bit of his legs are in the water, and he's rolled up his pants so that they do not get wet. That's what it means to wade in the water. It means you just get into the water and only take a few steps so that only just a little bit of your legs are in the water, and then you go back out. You're not planning on jumping in and swimming. To wade just means you take a few steps in the water and then you get maybe a little bit of your feet and legs wet, and that's all. Okay, let's turn. But every afternoon in the garden, beside the pond, after walking and swimming and wading, there they all were, together, under the little hen's wings. What a special story. I love this sweet family and how they all care for each other. Meet the author and illustrator. Lynn Reiser not only writes children's books, but she is also a doctor and a professor. She thinks that all families are surprise families. First grade, God has made your family just the way He wants it to be. He has selected who your parents would be, your other relatives. It's all planned and on purpose, and we can be so thankful for the families that God has given to us. Let's go ahead and turn several pages, actually, and you'll find on 112 and 113, it says, watch them grow. And you can watch the life cycle of a duck. And then also, if you turn one more page, you have examples of different types of eggs, and you have examples of different creatures. You can try and make a good guess about which egg matches which creature. Try your best, make your guess, and then at the bottom of the page, it does have the answers. Okay, once you've finished looking at your textbook, let's go to page 227 of your packet. Page 227 is called Alike and Different. What was so surprising about the hen's family? Write and draw your answer. You can choose to explain this with your own sentence. I'll include a sentence here as an example if you would like to copy that down. But one thing that was surprising you can think about is the hen was actually cared for by a boy. Or you can also think about how the hen cared for ducklings and not chicks. So I'm going to write a sample sentence, and then you can choose to write that sentence or write your own. I chose to write, the hen's babies were ducklings, not chicks. And I put an exclamation point to read that with emotion because it's so surprising. Then once you finish writing your sentence, go ahead and draw an illustration that goes along with it. You can choose to include the boy, the little hen, and all of the ducks.